Hello once again, YouTube. I thought I would do a follow-up video on the state of our nation and what I consider to be precipitory events to a coming, well, it could be a civil war or revolution, the second civil war revolution. It could be the declaration of martial law. It could be the ushering in of overt tyranny. But I want to do a second follow-up video on some of my thoughts about what we can expect within the next 1 to 2 years. As everybody understands, or you should understand by now, our dollar does not actually belong to us. Our currency does not belong to us. In 1910, a group of guys got together and established what was a precursor to the Federal Reserve, which is what we have now. And I believe the Federal Reserve is a central bank. You can research the Federal Reserve online. Ron Paul is constantly railing against it. But basically what it is it's a private entity that has been given permission by our government to be in total control of our money. Being in total control of our money basically means they have about total control of our economy, and they regulate our economy basically in two ways: by adding to the money supply, subtracting from the money supply, which means how many dollars they actually go to the printing press and print out, and through interest rates, the cost that it costs to borrow money. So they kind of play with our economy. They speed it up or slow it down, and make us either competitive or not with the rest of the world through these two primary mechanisms. There are a lot of other things, but basically those are the main mechanisms that the Federal Reserve uses to control the speed and state of our economy. Well, with all of these banking scandals and quantitative easing and the fallout from the 2008 financial crisis with mortgage-backed securities, all of those things have basically been the banks and the big favored corporations at the top finding ways to fleece the American taxpayer out of money. So basically all of our tax money has been stolen by these group of international banking criminals and corporate criminals. It's why we have such a huge deficit today, whereas opposed to when Clinton was in office, we had a budget surplus. Clinton is not without guilt himself, because he went on ahead and made free trade possible, which was in the form of NAFTA, which has actually proven almost 20 years after the fact now to have diminished both the economy of the country, like Mexico, that it was supposed to enhance, as well as our economy too. But it has been a huge windfall for the corporations that qualified to take advantage of it. International corporations and banks. They are the winners. The participants were the losers. Mexico is no better off now than it was before, and we are definitely not better off because all of our jobs have been sent overseas. So Clinton is not without blame, but now what we have is a situation where we have things that we need to pay for to run in our own country, only the money has been stolen. It's been stolen by all of these other big criminal entities, and we've got this huge deficit that we're beholden to China for, as well as some of the other countries that have loaned us money. And all of our reserves have been depleted. They even say that there is no gold in Fort Knox, that all of the gold has been stolen, because of course these criminals that stole all the money know that when the economy collapses, fiat paper money is no longer of any value. The only type of currency that's going to have any real value is actual physical currency in the form of precious metals or resources, like actually gun items like actual things, you know, not the paper that you hold in your pocket. That will be worthless at that point. But actual things that you can use, things that you can eat, things that are needed, that will be the currency and have value, because those things are needed. Paper money is not, once it goes all the way down. So that's kind of the situation that we are in today. Incidentally, Germany asked for its gold back because we were supposed to be the central repository to hold other countries' gold, and they gave their gold to us foolishly a while back. It was some kind of treaty. Now that things have gone so bad, Germany has asked for its gold back, and they've been told, no, we can't give you your gold back. It's going to take about 7 years for us to give you your gold back. What? You could just put it on a pallet, put it on a plane, and ship it over, right? Thing is that they don't have it anymore because they stole Germany's gold, because they engineered this whole thing knowing this economic collapse was going to come. They engineered that knowing that paper money, fiat money, was going to be worthless, so they tricked everybody into giving them their gold, and they stole that too. So this group of people behind the world's economy, the true, you know, movers and shakers, have done a pretty fair job of ripping everybody off. And so now we're going to have to go through this. They're talking about cutting entitlements like Social Security and welfare payments and what have you. Only problem is the welfare that's given out, the majority of it is given out to corporations and people like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. You know, they get more corporate welfare than all of the little food stamp recipients combined by a magnitude of probably 10. They don't have to pay taxes, they don't have to pay regulatory fees, they get forgiveness and what have you. There was a story in the news where Google, it has been shown, only pays like 1% of its income in taxes. You know, that's below any tax rate that you or I could get, and yet they're a, what, $500 billion company or something like that. Anyway, that's kind of the way the world works. But what I wanted to say, the point that I wanted to make now, is that I've been looking at economic forecasters, and I don't have their names in front of me, but one guy, he used to work for the federal government as an economist, and he graduated from, I think, Dartmouth College with a BA in economics or what have you. His first name begins with John, but he has a newsletter called Shadow Government Statistics. But anyway, all of the numbers that the government puts out concerning the economy, he dissects them and tells you the real truth and points out all of the lies, which basically almost all of it's lie. He shows you the true unemployment rate, the true you know, GDP rate, gross domestic product rate, you know, the true inflationary rate, you know, not the propaganda that we're fed by the mainstream media that the government pushes out, but what actually is based on his expertise. And he said back in 2011 that about the middle, and he's not the only one that has said this, he's not the only respected forecaster, economic forecaster, that said this. Gerald Celente has said it, Max Kaiser, he's kind of a little bit, you know, sensational, but he said something along those lines, you know, and there's others who are respected and have a good track record of being right, that in about 2014, which is what, 7 months away, 8 months away, it's October right now, 2013, the middle of 2014, we are going to experience the dollar almost being completely devalued. That the rest of the world that holds most of our debt, including China, China is talking about this right now, is going to get together and say, you know what, the Americans have diluted their dollar so much and stolen so much money that you know, we can't use the dollar as a reserve currency anymore. Let's try to figure out a way to replace it with something else. And they're going to try to replace it with the Asian dollar, the Chinese dollar, which is the yen, yuan. The yuan. The yen is Japanese. I think the yuan is Chinese. But yeah, when that happens, when they start pushing most of the economy into another form of currency, whether it be the yuan or whether it be actual physical gold, who knows, and the dollar is dropped, our dollar's value is going to crash so heavily we're going to experience a recession a double dip recession, which is a graph representation of what happens. They call single dip recession. Ours is going to be double dip recession, and it means something to economists. As well as hyperinflation. It means that a loaf of bread will go from being $3 to $15. It means that a gallon of gas will go from being $5 to $25. The value of the money that you have in the bank and that you have in your pockets will instantly go down by many factors. And it'll happen almost overnight. When that happens, that's when the government is going to declare an emergency, because you're going to have mass panic in the population. You're going to have people running to the banks, and that's called a bank run, trying to get their money out. Chase Manhattan has already just said that they're limiting the amount that you can withdraw or send overseas, and now it has been stated amongst all the big banks that it's going to be a general policy. You won't be able to get your money. They're putting the tools in place right now. It's called capital control, so that you can't get your money when this happens. Why would you want it anyway? It's already devalued. So when that happens, there's going to be mass panic. EBT cards won't work. People won't get their Social Security checks. Veterans won't get paid. SSI checks won't be cut. The government will go insolvent. Mass panic in the streets. And then, of course, the declaration of martial law. When the declaration of martial law comes, all constitutional and civil rights are suspended. The Department of Homeland Security is going to come in, going to be rolling down the street, and, you know, they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do. It's going to be a total, complete dictatorship at that point. At that point, elections won't even be held. The president can stay in forever, you know, based under martial law. And you can be arrested for anything, no explanation needed, no due process, no trial, no nothing, just disappeared or imprisoned or whatever. That has been the design, and a lot of economic forecasters are saying that that's going to come in 2014. Now, that's just one disaster that could cause martial law to happen, but there have been others with this recent nuke scandal, and Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina announcing that South Carolina was going to get hit by nukes, and just to that very day, some nuclear weapons were transported without authorization and almost left the country. False flag. They're going to think of something pretty darn quick, because people are waking up to what they're doing. They're going to think of something pretty darn quick to force martial law, probably try to provoke civil war so that they can inflict martial law. But anyway, stuff like this is coming, and everybody thinks that knows anything about it that it's going to be 2014, the middle of 2014, no longer than 2 years from now, that all of this is going to take place. So you guys be careful. Try to prepare yourself and your family and your friends as much as possible for this. A lot of people are saying it's already too far gone, that it's going to happen, there's no way to stop it, so what you can do now is just try to survive it. Me, since I've been poisoned, my lungs are hurting and what have you, I don't know if I will survive it. They have lists of people that they want to come get when all this stuff breaks down, and they're going to send death squads out when martial law happens, and I expect to probably be a target of that as well. Whatever, it's still my duty to try to tell people and inform you as much as possible, my Christian duty as well as my, you know, altruistic duty, to try to tell you what evil is approaching your doorstep. Stay prayed up, guys. You know, pray for me too, and God bless and take care.